So yeah, when I'm thinking about revival, I think one of the things that stands in the way of revival in the church in North America is that people really are not very aware anymore what is true and what is false. There's a lot of confusion about what is truth, and I believe there's a lot of the evangelical world has become like a marketplace full of views and full of ideas and full of influences that come into it without much filtering. And this is also, I guess, because the views do not come only through the leaders anymore. There's a lot on the internet and these kind of things also. So believers in the pew get a lot of stuff coming at them. And a lot of it is, first of all, a lot of it is unnecessary. What I believe is it takes the focus away from Christ, who should be the focus of our faith. Christ, serving him, and what he is calling us to do in this world. So first of all, it's all kinds of distraction and a lot of stuff that is coming in that's unnecessary. But what I think is a lot worse is that there's a subgroup of those beliefs and ideas that are truly false and that are truly hostile to the gospel of Christ. And I believe that there's people out there who are aware of this and who are pointing to specific beliefs. This is wrong, and that is wrong, and that is wrong, and that is wrong. But what at this point is missing is a truly pointing to the root of these beliefs, where they all come from. And we need to realize that all these deceptions come from one source, namely the enemy, the one that Jesus called the father of lies. Just like Christ is the source of truth, Christ is the truth. In the same way, these deceptions come from one source, the enemy. And they are fundamentally hostile to the truth. And we need to realize that. And I believe we can realize that. We can expose the falsehood of these ideas. They all bear a certain stamp because they come from that specific source, all of them. And God's word will guide us exactly in how to expose these kind of falsehoods, these deceptions, and even sound reasoning will help us to expose it as a backup. Sure. First of all, God's word. Secondly, sound reasoning also shows that these things are truly false and truly hostile. Now, in a way, this is nothing new. If you look at Paul the Apostle, he was fighting the same thing. A lot of his time and his effort went into exposing false beliefs. He says, for example, in 2 Corinthians 10, he says, we should demolish arguments and false pretensions that set themselves up against the knowledge of God. And when you read that, you almost feel the godly anger there. He is really telling them, get with the program. Get rid of these false beliefs. This is needed. This is necessary. Clean up the church of these deceptions because they're going to lead you astray. Yeah. And there's so much of this right now going on in the church. So much is coming, like I said, at the ordinary believer. They need to learn to recognize this, at least the leaders, to recognize it by the stamp that is on all these beliefs, the stamp of the enemy. And so that is something that I feel is really needed in the church in order to at least clear the way for revival.
Okay. We're going to do two things.